how does your being under the Ruthenian bishop change your church?
It doesn't. When we raised the church, Bishop Kuzma raised it, I told you, he wrote to the Holy Father and had the bull. It does not change the church because the only way you can survive is you have to have the apostle. And Bishop George said, as long as you keep the liturgy with our recension, so people who come will understand it, he says, all the other customs, everything, you keep everything that belongs to the Italo-Greeks. And if you notice, we do. But the recension we keep because you come from the rest of the eparchy, or if you come from the Ukrainians, and we used only the Italo-Greek recension, you'd be lost. You would be lost. This way it has preserved the church and it has done a better job. But as far as the Omaphor, without Bishop Dino or Bishop Kuzma or Skrla, we would have no bishop. And you can't exist without a bishop. Where's your apostolic tradition? You have none. Now, probably when I die, they will raise this to an eparchy. Because there are 5 churches. But the point is, while I'm alive, my job is to solidify the churches, push them back together.
What are some of the things that you do in your liturgy that people wouldn't see in other other Eastern Catholic liturgies?
Well, one of the things you don't see, you will see the candle, the light of God in the Ukrainian church. I'm sure you've seen that. So that's common to all the churches. But they think that's only ours. It's not only ours. We bring up the Antidoran, as you saw at the end, which is done only the Melkite churches, the Italo-Greek Church, and the Belarusians do it. Nobody else. And it's because the heritage is the Jerusalem liturgy. In Jerusalem, that's what's done. And so the ones that are attached to the Jerusalem liturgy have the oldest customs. The kissing of the chalice and the discos and whatnot, the Russians do it, the Greeks do it. If you go to Father Stanislav, the Ruthenian Church, they do it there too. It's a custom of the people, since they know this is the part of the liturgy that Jesus is going to Calvary. It was always a way of acknowledging that I will give my life for Christ. In Greece, what they'll do is that the deacon sort of has to stop every 10 feet because all these people mob scene. And the gospel book also, what happened, you'll see in Greece and in Sicily, the deacon has to stop because the people come to kiss the gospel book. At least here they stay in their chairs, but not in Greece. They'll come right up to the gospel book, yeah. So, what else is different? Angie?
And then the children with the air?
Oh, the children with the air is done. We have a catechetical program. So, as you saw, some of them are tykes. They can't say the whole creed. So the only way they can make their profession of faith on Catechetical Sunday, this Sunday, is to come up and say, I believe. They kiss the air. And so, actually, what are you doing when you're making your baptismal creed? I believe in one God. So for the children who are in the catechumenate or in the ECF program, who are little people, that's the only way they can do it. So that helps them to understand that when they were baptized, they made a profession of faith by the parents or grandparents or godparents. So they do that on Catechetical Sunday. Here's a custom we have that a lot of churches don't have. Melkites do it, Greeks do it, and the Italo-Greek Church does it. If you notice, after the Our Father, the book is brought up with the names of the sick.
Right.
And in the petition where it says the deacon can add, we pray for the sick. Now, some of the churches don't do that. The Ruthenians don't do that. Some of the Ukrainian churches do that. Some of them don't do that. So it's also local custom, but for the Italo-Greeks, that's very important to pray for the sick. So the book is always brought up. Also, the Antidoran. We have Antidoran. When you cut the bread, and you take out the lamb, and you cut the pieces, and what happens is you have the leftover, which becomes the Antidoran. In the Ruthenian church, the Ukrainian church, is Mirovanya. See, for us it's not Mirovanya, but your priest will save that, becomes Mirovanya for the feast day.
Right.
See? So,
You have a traveling icon here, right?
traveling icons, we have one for Saturday, one for Sunday, yeah. Those are the original icons we had when we first started.
Okay.
And those are precious, not because they're worth anything, but because they were the ones that were first blessed and consecrated by Bishop George Kuzma. So we cherish those. Those have been around 20 some odd years now.
Is there anything else that other people ask?
They usually ask why our churches are so ornate. And they don't, if they've been to Ukrainian church, this looks pitiful compared to the Ukrainian church. Talk about ornate, those are ornate. The American head doesn't understand that this is heaven on earth. And everything in heaven is in gold. So says the book of Revelation. And so the Americans that come, they don't understand why everything is in gold like that. You know, everything. And if it were real gold, it'd be nice, but you know it's not. You know, a lot of it's polished brass that looks like gold, but it's not. But that's one of the questions they ask. And then they ask why we have so many pictures. And we explain them that they're not pictures, they're icons, and each written icon tells a story. It's the faith in a painting. You know. Those are the questions we usually get. Oh, and the other thing they always ask, they always want to know why is it we have chairs but we don't use them. Most of it you're standing. You know, just the old people will sit, but everybody else stands. What else do we have? Some of them are hilarious. That one is hilarious.
Do your churches in Europe have chairs?
No, absolutely not. Benches or chairs?
Either.
Oh yeah, they'll have chairs along the wall like this for the elderly to sit, because some of them can't stand for the whole.
And then the middle part
is always empty. Yeah. Here you see those chairs for that very reason, because when we started, I told you they were elderly. And if you notice, like the young people, they don't sit. That's abhorrent. You don't do that. You're risen. So for as long as you can stand. You see that one lady was sitting on the opposite side of you? She's 86 years old. And she came up to kiss the gospel book, and she had to sit, because if she didn't sit, her legs would give out. But that's the only reason the Eastern churches had chairs. It was for the elderly. So, with this upheaval with the Latin right now, more people coming. And they come, and I explained, do you say the rosary? No, we don't say the rosary. We say the Akats. The Akats was written in 532. It's older than the rosary. It has the mysteries of the rosary in it. If you pay attention, you will hear all the mysteries of the Holy Rosary in the Akats. So I said, you know, if you want to pray the rosary home, privately, that's fine. You want to pray before liturgy, that's fine. But it's not a public devotion. It's not part of the Eastern heritage. The Akats is the proper devotion of the Mother of God. And all during October, that's one of the things in the Italo-Greek Church. During October, the Akats are said before every liturgy. And August, the month of the Holy Mother in August. And on June, the Moleben to the Isusa, in your language, the Isusa, for all of June. That's a custom we use here in Europe too. What else? New Year's. That's a custom in the Italo-Greek Church. We write, people want whatever they want Christ to forgive is written on a dish. And after the Vespers, we go out in procession and smash the dishes to pieces.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun. The kids love it, of course. And we all eat together, you know, for the New Year, September the 1st, you know. And in Greece, you have to be careful in Sicily, because they throw them out the window. They'll take right, if you're walking along, bang, you can get hit with a dish. But it is fun. It is fun. But that's an Italo-Greek custom. And the Greeks do it too. The Slavic churches don't, but the Eastern Greek churches do. The other one, for certain feast days of the saints, Saint Markella, one of the traditions is you write your petitions that you want in a scroll shape. You write the petitions that you ask of Christ for how to pray with you for. You roll it up, and you actually there's a brass pot. And you light it and burn it. You take from the profane world and put it into the sacred world. That was one of the things I was talking about. Did you hear that this morning?
No, we were.
After the third hour, I was talking about the difference between the sacred and the profane. Some of the feast days accent that very clearly. Markella, the reason they do that for Markella is because when she was being martyred, the people wanted to be with her, but couldn't be martyred. Not to be known, so they had petitions that they threw for her to take to heaven. And so that's how that tradition grew up of writing on hot day. You write petitions and you roll them up and you throw them into the fire. So in commemoration of her martyrdom, because she was at the bottom of a post, she was burned. And the first time they tried to burn her, it didn't work, the fire went out. Second time, it rained. The third time, they managed to martyr her. But those are customs that are in the Eastern churches that, even though they're small customs, they have a great faith content. They need to be preserved.